Week 2 is almost over. Let's recap all of the games from Sunday. And let's not wait. Let's get right into it. We'll talk about the Jaguars at the Bengals because I think this has the biggest news story of the week. News just came out. It is 8:30 Central Time on Monday that Joe Burrow should miss about 3 months. He's knocked out of this game. Jags at Bengals earlier in the game. Let's kind of recap what happened and talk about the impact of that injury. Bengals do end up getting the victory. Jake Browning comes in and leads the team, but he looked shaky. 3 interceptions, did throw 2 touchdowns, and was able to keep Jamar Chase going. Jamar Chase is back after a quieter week 1, 14 catches, 165 and a touchdown. I think we're okay to use Jamar Chase going forward. T. Higgins, his game will look good on the box score, but if you watch this game, he had a 44-yard touchdown where he catches the ball, he is getting tackled, and another Jaguars defender basically just runs into his teammate and frees up T. Higgins to run the probably 25 plus yards to the end zone. So was it a touchdown? Yes. Those points count for fantasy. It counts. But does that happen every week? No. In a big game for most of the Bengals, Chase Brown is on the outside looking in. He ends the game with 47 yards rushing, not that much receiving, about 18 and 65 total yards. Let's talk about the Jags. It's a 3-touchdown day for Trevor Lawrence, 2 interceptions. He looked better than week 1, but not amazing. 2 of those touchdowns that he threw went to running backs. That's ETN, Bashal Tutin. Bashal Tutin is getting worked in more with Tank Bigsby out. He should be owned in every league. I am not yet ready to start him. Without that touchdown, I think he would have had a quieter day. 8 for 42 on the ground and a couple receptions. So let's wait and see if it gets to 50-50. I'm still ready to go with Travis Etienne. Let's just watch how this develops throughout the season. The 3rd touchdown pass for Trevor Lawrence goes to Diami Brown, which means BTJ and Travis Hunter both kept out of the end zone. Brian Thomas Jr., though, did have 12 targets in this game, just 4 catches for 49. So I'm not necessarily worried. If someone in my league was panicking, I would be willing to make a deal here. Some of them were some pretty bad drops. Travis Hunter did play a little bit more on defense. We'll be tracking that. So takeaways for this game, T. Higgins and Chase Brown are both gonna be taking a hit in my rankings going forward. I don't worry as much about Jamar Chase. He's an elite talent, and Jake Browning can get the ball to him enough to keep Jamar Chase performing as a top 5 receiver. But when the offense shrinks, we want guys with big pieces of big pies. And if that pie shrinks in, T. Higgins is going to be the one that I expect takes a step backwards, and then Chase Brown as well. Just a running back on a slightly less good offense. It's not going to be as good. The next game, the Bills at the Jets. This one, slobber knocker. Bills got out early. Bills shut the Jets down and never looked back. At one point, it was 20-0. So let's talk about some of the fantasy relevant players. With a 30-10 win, Josh Allen has kind of a quieter day. He had 148 yards passing, 59 on the ground. He left the game for a short while, bleeding, but I don't expect there to be any issues with him. James Cook is the one with the massive day. 2 touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, one of them 44 yards. Really, really good. No one else really of any consequence on the Bills. Keon Coleman comes back down after a big week 1. It's not every week you'll catch a deflected touchdown. Khalil Shakir with only 1 catch. Kincaid 4 for 37. Not the best example of what the Bills will be going forward. Elijah Moore for the Bills gets a rushing touchdown, but I don't think he's rosterable in very many leagues. For the Jets, could not come back into this game. It's largely a disaster. Things never really got going. Justin Fields was knocked out of this game late with a concussion. We'll track that throughout the week to see if he's startable in week 3. Tyrod Taylor comes in and still cannot get things going. Garrett Wilson has 4 catches on 8 targets, 50 yards. Breece Hall, 10 for 29, 2 receptions. It's not that often that a team just gets clobbered, but when they do, I don't know that we need to read super heavily into what happened here and think that this is going to happen again. Teams are not always down 20-0. The final takeaway for this game is this is why I don't ever try to target players expecting them to have garbage time. There's a good chance they just suck in garbage time too. Take a look at the Jets. They were trying to get back into this game. The final score, 30-10. There was no garbage time scoring for fantasy here. Let's talk about the next game. The Browns at the Ravens, 41-17. Ravens come away with the victory. My notes say that the Ravens started slow. It was 10-3 at the half. You'll see that in stat lines for Derrick Henry, who was shut down throughout this game. I think he finishes, depending on your scoring, he's going to finish with as one of the worst running backs on the week. Obviously, we're going right back to him. Lamar finishes the day with 4 passing touchdowns, and they were some big ones. Big deep shots to DeAndre Hopkins. Zay Flowers has another nice game, 7 catches for 75. These 2 deep shots go to DeAndre Hopkins. He got in the end zone again. That's 2 weeks, 2 touchdowns. Maybe we're picking him up in a deeper league. Maybe, but not really. Other 2 touchdowns go to Devontae Walker. That's not a name I'm considering yet over guys like Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman. Sometimes guys catch touchdowns. This might be the best game of Devontae Walker's career. For the Browns, here's a weird quirk. In PPR leagues, basically everyone you started on the Browns got 10 points. Sampson, 10 points. Ford, 10 points. Judkins, 10 points. Tillman, 10. Judy, 10. Fannin, 10. Njoku, 10. Flacco could not get to 10 points. The Browns were just unable to do very much on offense throughout the whole game. Their defense looked good. The defense that held the Bengals to 17 points and played a ball control game, they came ready to do that. They just could not stop Lamar Jackson throwing deep shot after deep shot to really put the game away. This was never close in general. This is another reason I'm not looking for garbage time players. Judkins comes into this game, gets some work. In week 3, he might end up starting for some of my teams. He'll definitely be in flex consideration. Jerome Ford has not looked like anything special. This team does need to move on to the future. Rams at Titans. The Rams get a win with 33-19. Let's talk about the Rams. Big day for both receivers. Puka had 9 targets. Adams had 13 targets. He only comes down with 6. L'Jarius Sneed was on him a lot. Every time I looked over, Stafford was targeting Adams in the end zone all over the field, and passes were getting broken up and batted down. It's a quieter day for Kyron Williams. He does not get into the end zone. Blake Corum comes in and gets the touchdown, but the overall usage here is not anything to be worried about. When you have a running back who gets a little bit of the work, 5, 10, 15 to 20%, sometimes they're the one who gets into the end zone. I wouldn't be worrying about it. For the Titans, I expected the Rams to be able to shut them down, and that's pretty much what happened. This offense did not really get going. Broncos and Rams is a tough stretch for a rookie quarterback for the first 2 games. In this game, I was trying to get away from Tony Pollard, and he winds up having an okay game, 92 yards on 20 carries. So if you had to start him, he didn't tank you. There are better matchups coming. Calvin Ridley, he'll same thing. He'll be startable going forward, but he finishes the game with 3 for 57. Alec Iamaner finds the end zone, and he does look like he's getting worked into this offense more. My final takeaways for this game, we're probably picking up Iamaner and tracking his usage. If he's a second receiving option for Cam Ward and the Titans, they'll have easier matchups. It's not every week you have to play the Broncos and the Rams or defenses of that caliber. So I'll be looking for Alec Iamaner. The Seahawks get the 31-17 victory over the Steelers. We saw some of the bad side of Darnold in this game. Under pressure, scrambling, throwing some bad-looking interceptions. But we also got plenty of the good side of Darnold. He finishes the game with 295 and 2 touchdowns. If you're in a 2-quarterback league, he's startable. JSN continues his hot streak to the season, 103 yards on 8 catches. Cooper Kupp bounces back after a rough week 1 with 90 yards and 7 receptions. Torrey Horton gets into the end zone for the Seahawks, rookie wide receiver. We'll track that. We'll track his snap usage. Those numbers aren't out yet. So we'll get his snap share, his target share, and we'll talk about him in the waiver wire upcoming videos. If you were panicked about Ken Walker, you can breathe a little bit easier. He was back. Big run, Ken was back. Now we switch our panic to Zach Charbonnet. 15 carries, 10 yards. Oy. I'm still leaning on Ken Walker. If I'm starting a Seahawks running back, I want it to be Ken Walker. And I'm just going to chalk it up to a rough week 1. He had some training camp injuries that maybe lingered and tied to his usage. When the Seahawks needed production, late in the fourth quarter in week 1, it was Ken Walker. This game, they were going to Ken Walker more when it mattered. Let's talk about the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers goes back to old man Rodgers' stat lines. 200 yards with a goal line touchdown to Metcalf. Metcalf has a decent day with that touchdown, but other than that, pretty quiet. Jalen Warren, 65-yard reception. Other than that, not a great day. So the stat line will look good, but it was all one play. If you take away that play, which isn't really how fantasy works, like it still counts, we just don't expect it to happen every week, he would have been 14 for 48 and 3 catches for 21. So with that one big play, it does kind of salvage his day. There isn't really anyone coming for this role, though. Kenneth Gainwell was not a massive part of this offense. Caleb Johnson, the rookie third-round pick for the Steelers, had 1 rush for 1 yard, and he botched a kickoff that led to a Seahawks touchdown. If the ball lands in the landing zone on a kickoff, you have to recover it, or you have to return it, and he just didn't. He just let it go right by him. Just a massive mental error. I don't think he knew the rule, or he just forgot at that moment. Kind of a fluky play, but I don't know that that's going to win him any favor with his coaches. If you have Cooper Kupp, I would be looking to move on from him after this game. I did not feel great about him going into the year. I did not feel good after week 1, and now he has a good game. If we could find a way out, I would. I'm still trying to get about the value that I spent on him, which was an 8th or 9th round pick. I would be trying to get out. Caleb Johnson is not showing any signs of getting on the field. I'm still going to try to hold him if I can, but if a breakout is coming, it is weeks away and it is feeling less likely. So we'll pivot to trying to find other breakout candidates. And if you thought anybody on the Steelers was startable after week 1, maybe Calvin Austin or other players, I think they're all droppable. It's not going to be every week that Aaron Rodgers throws 4 touchdowns. Big back and forth game. The Giants face the Cowboys. The Cowboys come out on top 40-37. This was the scoring bonanza of the week. If you had someone in this game, you were probably happy. Dak, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns. Javonte Williams gets another touchdown and 97 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 9 for 112. Pickens, 5 for 61 and a touchdown. Turpin finds the end zone. Jake Ferguson, 9 for 78. Huge day for the Cowboys. Similarly for the Giants, Russ looks like vintage Russ with deep shots to Malik Neighbors. Malik has 9 for 167 and 2. If anyone was worried about Malik Neighbors because of the Giants' offensive situation, this is why I was saying Russ is better than Tommy DeVito. Russ is better than any other quarterback that they started last year. Jameis Winston is probably better than those guys. So I was totally fine with Malik Neighbors, and he's a top 5 fantasy receiver going forward. Wan'Dale Robinson, dating back to last year, just quietly has 8+ targets every week, over and over and over and over and over again. This week he has 8 targets and has 8 receptions for 142 and a touchdown. I think he should be rostered in 12-team leagues, definitely in 14-team leagues. We should be picking him up and tracking that. The same thing with the offensive situation. Russ is better than Tommy DeVito. Russ is better than Daniel Jones. He can get the ball to Wan'Dale Robinson. This offense still will see a lot of targets going his way. Running backs in this game, Cam Scatterbo kind of is starting to show up. 11 rushes, 45 yards, and a touchdown to Tyrone Tracy's 5 for 15 on the ground. I have not seen that Tyrone Tracy was injured, but as the game went on, it was just kind of Scatterbo. If he's not owned in your league for some reason, if someone drafted him as a breakout and panicked after week 1 and sold him or dropped him, we got to be picking up Cam Scatterbo and tracking this. Takeaways. George Pickens looks like George Pickens in every way. Deep shots, deep catches with offensive passing interference. So if you could get out, I probably would. He still seems like the same guy who had all of the same issues before. He will still get production, but there could be a George Pickens moment coming. If Cam Scatterbo was dropped, grab him. Next game is 49ers at Saints. The 49ers come away with the win with Mac Jones at quarterback. What I saw watching this game was a lot of points off of turnovers. So I don't know that either offense was really moving that well. There were things like Alvin Kamara catching a pass, holding it here where it's ruled a catch, going down and fumbling, and the 49ers coming away with it. Odd plays like that. So when we're looking at the stat lines, I don't totally hold them all as the best sign of what these teams can do. But for fantasy, a lot of players had good games. CMC is still the offense here, 13 for 55 on the ground, 6 for 52 through the air with a touchdown. Juwan Jennings in week 2, strong game. Looks to be recovered from whatever injury or contract-based reason was holding him out of camp. 5 for 89 and a touchdown with 10 targets. And Ricky Pearsall has a slower game with Mac Jones, 4 for 56. I still expect brighter days coming for Ricky Pearsall, and he'll be in flex consideration most weeks. For the Saints, anyone you would have started did okay. Kamara's still looking okay. Good vision, good speed. 21 for 99. He is old, but he's not showing signs of it. 6 catches, 21 yards. Still looks like Alvin Kamara. Still looks fantasy relevant. Olave sees another 10 targets in this game, catches 6 of them for 54 yards. Could have been better, but the 10 targets, it's going to be hard to get away from Olave. Shaheed finds the end zone to make his day better. Otherwise, 4 for 52. Again, if you started him, you're happy. And now, Juwan Johnson, I'm ready to believe, I'm ready to buy in that he would become a startable tight end after multiple years of not really being one. He has another 9 targets. He finds the end zone. Without that touchdown, the day looks worse, but that targets is what I'm tracking, and he is consistently worked in as part of this offense that is going quick with Kellen Moore as head coach. Takeaways for this game: Mac Jones is not as good as Brock, but he was able to keep things going like I thought he would. If anyone is taking a hit on this offense, it's only a slight hit with Mac Jones at the helm. And this game is another example of why in the preseason I don't avoid players on teams we think will be bad. Alvin Kamara is fine, was fine. I was not worried in draft season. Chris Olave had concussion concerns, but was also being avoided because we thought the Saints would be a dumpster fire. They are fine for fantasy. They might lose every game, but the good players will stay good. Patriots at Dolphins. We're getting closer to the end of the noon slate. Patriots get the victory 33-27. This is the Drake May that I was hoping to see when I was saying draft him as a breakout. His numbers look pretty good, and his rushing is there. 10 carries, 31 yards, not a massive rushing day, but for a quarterback, that's pretty good. And he finds the end zone on the ground. 19 of 23 passing. It's fine. For fantasy, Drake May looks good. Ramondre Stevenson, still a deeper flex play. Not worked out of this offense yet. 11 for 54 on the ground. That's pretty decent. He had a 55-yard catch and run that really makes his day look good. You're not going to get that every week. So when you're looking at the stats that he had in week 2, pull him back a bit. The rookie Treveyon Henderson not moving into a larger role in this game. 3 carries, 10 yards, 2 catches for 30. We still expect him to move into a larger role. It just has not happened yet, and I'm not excited for him in week 3. But at some point this year, he'll be much better. After a bunch of targets in week 1, Kayshon Boutte has 1 target. He catches it. It's a touchdown. He's still someone I'm tracking as someone I want to either own or would be the first guy I pick up. Diggs leads the team in targets with 5, catches 4 of them for 32. For the Dolphins, Tua throws an interception late to basically seal the game away. They do get the ball back, and nothing really happens to get the things going in the fourth quarter. But in total for the game, for fantasy, he looks usable. The Dolphins wideouts both bounce back. 5 for 61 from Waddle, 6 for 109 from Tyreek Hill. They're both usable. Achane does what he does. 8 for 92 receiving and a touchdown, a long touchdown, a lot of long run plays. If you were worried about Achane after week 1 or going into the year with a calf injury, if someone was still worried, he's fine. He's still very, very good. Takeaways: the Dolphins might just be a bad defense this year. I'll react some in my rankings next week for teams playing the Dolphins. I didn't really after week 1. I don't change a lot of my thoughts after 1 week, but after 2 weeks of seeing teams consistently able to drive down the field on the Dolphins, I'll take that into consideration. Do not get off of Treveyon Henderson if you're worried. I'm not worried. I'm holding him wherever I have him. And if I could buy him, I would be. Achane's a weekly start. Butte and Diggs are the only Patriots receivers that I would consider in a 12-team league, and I don't feel excited starting either one. Butte should be rostered. I just kind of want to see more. Final game of the noon slate. The Bears get pounded by the Lions. The final score 52-71. There's not a ton to say about this game. Other than if you had a player, they probably scored about 1 billion points. Amon-Ra finds the end zone 3 times. Gibbs gets a touchdown. Montgomery gets a touchdown. Jamison Williams has 2 targets and 2 bomb catches. There was a play where a linebacker was covering Jamison Williams and another play where it was just a broken defense. Jamison Williams easily runs past the safeties who don't really cover him. Is that going to happen every week? No. Are the Lions going to score 52 every week? No. Jamison Williams has a great day. He'll remain a boom-bust flex play. You're starting Amon-Ra, you're starting Montgomery, you're starting Gibbs. For the Bears, it's hard to speak positively about a team that lost by 30. But Caleb looked okay. He had a rough interception on a scramble play when the game was still in hand. In general, he was able to move the offense some. The defense just could not stop the Lions. Roma Dunze has a big game, finds the end zone twice. Let me find his stats. 7 for 111 and 2 touchdowns. Some of it came in garbage time, but when the game was in hand, they were going to roam more than DJ Moore. There's not a ton of takeaways here. I don't think the Bears defense is horrifically bad. It's 1 week. We'll see and track it if they are. But I'm not taking a ton away from this game. It was just a beatdown. There were 3 games in the afternoon slate. Let's start with the first one. Panthers at Cardinals. Cardinals come away with the win, 27-22, and they got out to an early lead with some Bryce Young turnovers. It was first drive of the game for Bryce Young. He fumbled the ball. It was recovered by the Arizona defense and taken into the end zone. Not long after that, another turnover by Bryce. Things were not looking good. Cardinals got out to an early lead. At one point, this game was 20-3 Cardinals. The Panthers do come back and make it a close game and almost win in the fourth quarter with a lot of Cardinals penalties. But I don't think that's the story or the truth of what this game was. The offense for the Panthers could not overcome those turnovers and couldn't really catch up. Kyler on the Cardinals didn't get a ton of stuff going against a bad Panthers defense. James Conner only gets 11 carries for 34 yards. He does get in the end zone to make his day look better, but I would be worried if I had James Conner. Trey Benson's not going away. He was trusted more in this game. He had 6 targets that converted to 4 for 30. He's out there. And I thought this team would do much better against a bad Cardinals defense or bad Panthers defense. Maybe the Panthers defense isn't as bad as they were last year. We'll wait and see, and we'll get more information. We've seen 2 weeks of them, one where they looked really bad, and this week where they lost, but the defense didn't throw an interception. The defense didn't fumble the ball. So we'll see. Marv, quiet, 2 for 27 on 5 targets. The 5 targets, I'd like that to be a little bit higher, but I'm not going to be getting away from Marv after one bad game. Michael Wilson gets in the end zone. He's not someone that we're starting. And Trey McBride was still a big part of this offense, 6 for 78. Cardinals just didn't have to do much to win this game, and they didn't. For the Panthers, Bryce comes out, looks bad immediately, and then says, in a way, kind of shows some leadership and says, guys, follow me. Don't worry. We're losing this one. I got it. I'll make sure it happens. You guys don't have to worry. Maybe not the type of leadership you want, but he for sure told this team they are losing, and then they did. Hubbard comes out and scores in what is basically a garbage time touchdown, and that'll make his game look much better than it was. But overall, Chuba Hubbard was still usable. Let's talk Tet. Tet McMillan, 6 for 100 on 10 targets. I'm not worried about Tet McMillan. If you drafted him in the 6th round, right now you're getting good value for him. I think there are even better days coming. We'll go from Tet to Leggett, who looked much worse. 8 targets, 1 catch. I don't know that he was being drafted in 12-team leagues. Definitely not in 10-team leagues. He's not someone that I'm making a priority pickup at this point. He should not be rostered. Hunter Renfrow has the big day in garbage time, 7 for 48 and 2 touchdowns. It's hard to say if Hunter Renfrow is someone you should be grabbing. I'm not. This is a player that the team cut and only brought back when Jalen Coker got injured. So if anything, I'm waiting to see what happens with Jalen Coker. If I'm starting someone from the Panthers, it's Ted McMillan, it's Chuba Hubbard, and it's not anyone else. Benson should be owned. James Conner owners, I'm a little worried. He's not really going away. Benson's not startable yet, but definitely not cuttable. Again, this is why I don't target players thinking they will do well in garbage time or that teams are going to have to throw. This just didn't really work out for the players you would have been starting looking for garbage time. Like Tet wasn't better because it was garbage time. Hunter Renfrow got those passes. Jatavian Sanders got those passes. This is just not good fantasy logic. Next game of the afternoon slate, a much closer back and forth game. Broncos Colts. The Colts kick a game-winning field goal to walk off and win. And Daniel Jones looks okay. If you're in a 2-quarterback league, Daniel Jones is startable, and he might in some weeks be startable in a 1-quarterback league. I think there's 12 guys I would rather start over him most weeks, but he's showing up. I don't know when he's going to turn back into a pumpkin. I don't know that Daniel Jones had great receivers for most of his time in New York. I can't even remember the guy's name anymore, the little goblin-looking guy who got traded to Kansas City, who I think he's a rapper now. First-round pick, was supposed to help Daniel Jones. Maybe we're a little too quick on Daniel Jones. He's not amazing, but he could be fantasy relevant. Jonathan Taylor looked excellent again in this game, 165 yards on the ground, 50 yards and a touchdown through the air. I was too low on Jonathan Taylor going into this year. None of the Colts receivers were particularly good in any way. I was saying get away from Michael Pittman if you could because of this Patrick Surtain matchup. No one on this offense particularly showed out. I would be going right back to Michael Pittman in a better matchup, though. If you weren't starting Tyler Warren already, start Tyler Warren. That's going to look like a good value pick in the 9th round at tight end. Broncos on the other side. If Bo Nix had worried you after week 1, he went back to being fantasy Bo Nix. He's an okay quarterback who's going to get some good stats and run. He was 22 for 30, great completion percentages, which is what we're looking for. That's kind of what Bo Nix was last year. 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. However, Courtland Sutton just fully disappeared in this game. This is one of the afternoon slate games. I don't know. I don't have any notes on if he missed time in this game or something happened, but he just fully disappeared. I'll definitely have that in consideration for my rankings. Takeaways. RJ Harvey getting a little bit more work in this game. J.K. Dobbins still going to be startable. We're really just looking at Harvey versus Bidet, and Harvey is going to be moving into that 2-back rotation that we expect with Sean Payton. Final game of the afternoon slate, Chiefs-Eagles. Eagles get the win, 20-17. There's no Tank Bigsby sighting in this game. All of the backup work went to A.J. Dillon. You should not be picking up A.J. Dillon. Saquon Barkley is still the lead running back, obviously. We don't really need to worry about a handcuff for him. He had 88 yards in this game and gets a touchdown. It's a low fantasy scoring game in general. Jalen Hurts gets a tush-push touchdown, but other than that, not good. And even with that, not good. For the receivers, the stats don't look amazing, but I do find it promising. A.J. Brown had 8 targets compared to 1 in week 1, and Devonta Smith was getting targeted down the field. I think the Chiefs' defense just came to play to shut down Saquon, shut down Jalen Hurts, and they didn't get anything else going in a way to blow out the Chiefs. I mean, they got enough going to win, and I think teams care more about winning than scoring fantasy points for us. For the Chiefs, if you only look at the box score, it doesn't really tell some of the crazier plays that happened with Patrick Mahomes. A throw at the goal line goes through Travis Kelce's hands, gets intercepted. So what should have been a touchdown leads to an interception for Mahomes. That's a big point swing. And then late in the game throws a deep bomb touchdown to Tyquan Thornton. Neither one of those things are going to happen every single week. They are going to Thornton for bomb plays every week. I just don't know that they're always going to hit. Thornton's going to get 3-4 deep shots. They just miss on most of them. Rushing is something Patrick Mahomes called out and said, hey, this is something I have to get back to. I'll do it in the playoffs to make sure we win, but I think on the broadcast, they said Patrick Mahomes had specifically said in week 1, he felt like he needed to. In week 2, it showed like he needed to. I would expect to see that in week 3 because Patrick Mahomes led this team in rushing. Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, they had similar days with 10 and 8 carries for 22 and 31 yards. Neither one of these guys is usable. Pacheco was getting drafted pretty early. He might be droppable at this point. Hollywood Brown comes back down to earth, goes from 16 targets in week 1 to 5 targets in week 2, catches all 5 of them. Not a massive day. He will be in flex consideration just like he was going into week 2. I just didn't want to overreact to what we saw in week 1. He was a borderline flex for week 2. He'll stay that way for week 3. So we're not going to let the pendulum swing too far in either direction. We liked what we saw in week 1. We didn't love it for week 2. And coming out of week 2, I feel like I had already priced in that he could be 5, 6, 7, 8 targets. And that's what we got. We got 5 against a tough defense. So I think that will go up in a better matchup going forward. Travis Kelce, 4 for 61, would have looked a lot better if he had caught that ball and could have gotten into the end zone. Didn't work out that way. If you have Travis Kelce, yeah, we're going back to him. There just aren't that many tight ends available that I would feel more comfortable starting. And then if you have Mahomes, you could maybe pick up someone else to start, but you have to hold Patrick Mahomes until Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice are back to get things moving. But the way the offense is now, it's rough. For the final game on Sunday, we have the Falcons traveling to Minnesota to play the Vikings. They come away with a 22-6 win in a defensive game. Both defenses looked good. This is one of the reasons that I don't look at preseason strength of schedule, because a lot of that is based on last season's defenses. The Falcons spent 2 first-round picks on front 7 guys. They brought in Leonard Floyd. Their defense looked much, much better compared to last year when they were just not sacking anyone, not getting quarterback pressure. They pressured J.J. McCarthy all night, and McCarthy looked bad. So let's talk about the Falcons first. Penix looked to be struggling against the Minnesota defense. Minnesota has a tough defense. Like I was saying, it was just a defensive matchup. I'm not really looking to start Penix in one quarterback leagues. He finishes with 135 yards passing. Drake London, not a big part of this offense. If he was playing, I was starting him. It did not work out this week. But if he's healthy enough to go each week, I think any lingering signs of his injury will continue to fade. And it's going to be hard for me to get away from starting him going forward. On the ground, Bijan Robinson looks great from the beginning of the game. Gets going, finishes with a great day, 143 yards, didn't find the end zone, but I'm not super worried about that. Algier is the one who gets into the end zone. Tyler Algier is going to have his role. He's a good power back. It just so happens that the team has an amazing back ahead of him, but he'll still get his spots. Kyle Pitts, 4 receptions, 37 yards on 5 targets. That's Kyle Pitts. For the Vikings, Oof. J.J. McCarthy, not looking amazing. Finishes the game with 158 yards. Probably 30 to 40 of that is on one big shot to Justin Jefferson at the end of the first half to get on a field goal. He looked bad. For rushing, Aaron Jones, 5 for 23. Jordan Mason, 9 for 30. Neither back got a lot going in this game. I don't know that this might be one of the worst games the Vikings play all year, so I'm not going to lean into these stats a lot for my rankings for week 3. I will worry about it for the running backs, but for key guys like Justin Jefferson, who had 3 for 81, it's going to be hard to get away from Justin Jefferson. You drafted him as a top 3 receiver. I will be starting him in week 3 and every week going forward. And then TJ Hawkinson, he's out there. The offense just is not able to get things going. There's a pass to TJ Hawkinson that was broken up like in the bread box. With this we need this offense to pick up, and when it does, Hawkinson will be a part of it. It's just if the offense isn't good, he isn't usable. Jefferson will stay usable, but Hawkinson with 1 reception for 12 yards, it'll be tough to get him going. That is the last of the Sunday night games. We will be back with the Monday night games after they have been played. If you liked this, hit a like, hit subscribe. Thank you very much for watching to the end.